What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 18 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. I'm Mike.
And your co-host Joel.
How we doing today, man?
Living the dream.
Yeah,
Immersing myself in Magic lately with all the new announcements and whatnot. So definitely been a lot
uh,
of Magic-centric thinking lately.
yeah, yeah. We left off the last episode just ready to talk Fallout, and that shit kind of changed.
Yeah,
So
I didn't realize everything was coming out. So
yeah, but all good news, all exciting stuff.
yeah,
I'm really excited to get into it. Honestly, I want to hear what you're thinking about it, and it should be good. Before we get into any news, let's just mention that we are going to be playing Commander tomorrow. So
thank God.
yeah, we did it. We got it together.
I'm
I'm
coming with
excited.
two new decks. I'm excited to try out.
That's awesome.
You get some more reps of my Clue deck in there too.
Yeah.
So
Are we going to see Tomic, some
yes,
Planeswalker?
yep,
Awesome.
Atomic and
Awesome.
finally Budget Drana is all 100% here every card. So the
Yeah.
two, the two are ready.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I have a lot of decks I want to play out tomorrow. There's some that I haven't played in a long time. I have big hopes. So hopefully we're able to get in at least 6-7 games. But we'll see how that goes. All right. So where do you want to start with all this stuff, man? Do you want to just start from the beginning? What's coming up next in time order?
Let's do the arena stuff. Let's get your arena segment out
Okay.
because I haven't played a
Um
single stitch of arena. So
okay. So for Arena, I haven't played too much myself. I ended up making a 5-color
domain attracts a deck.
no, pretty much the opposite. The Niv Mizzet Guild Pack deck
Oh,
that
cool.
you
All
need
right.
to drop cards. It's terrible. It's not working. So I don't want to report too much on that. The reason why I actually put MTG Arena is there are rumors, and there was a survey done where they talked about putting in multiplayer in Two-Headed Giant.
I did see that.
I know we've always talked about it. That's like one of Troy's pipe dreams, and to see them actually talking about it and seeing what people think about it, and that it's a consideration for future product. Yes, I don't care how long we have to wait. I'm just happy that it's even something that's coming out of their mouths.
I feel no. I feel like it was. I know technologically it's hard. Due just the size of like playing on cell phone screens and whatnot. But I mean, okay. So Mark Rosewater has said many times that kitchen table magic is the most popular way to play, which I find difficult to believe because I don't know anybody that plays kitchen table magic, but I'm going to assume he's correct. He knows more than I do. But the fact is that after kitchen table magic, Commander is by and far the most popular way to play the game nowadays, and I would imagine it would behoove them to try to get some sort of Commander esque even if it's multiplayer brawl or something, but like to get that experience onto arena as soon as possible because it is the most popular way to play, and they do design most cards with that in mind for Commander nowadays, so it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I hear multiplayer and Two-Headed, and I just immediately think of Commander. I didn't think about Brawl. If they do that, are you going to build a Brawl deck? Would you consider it if we could actually all meet up on some computers and fuck around with multiplayer?
I would be much more likely to do so if I could play Brawl in a four v four like four player variant like setup.
Yeah, and they have historic Brawl, which is 100 card deck singleton with a vast amount of cards, and by the time it's out, I'm sure it'll be Commander Light. So
Yeah.
I think that would be nice.
Commander Light on Arena would be fun because then you have like instances where your limited card pool, some of like the staples aren't there, but you still have a lot of other cards to choose from. So I could see myself being interested and excited about like Commander Light or Historic Brawl multiplayer.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the best ways to get new players that are intimidated by the complexity of Commander into multiplayer and kind of introduce them. the fact that the system is going to take care of all of the triggers, all of the stacking, even like when something resolves, like it goes by priority order and then it resolves backwards,
Yeah.
which it gets complicated when things start stacking and you're responding to the way it's resolving in a reverse order of how it was stacked, but then interrupting it. So stuff like that, I think, would really help Commander for people who aren't, entrenched diehards.
So I
So
have a
we'll see.
question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that they should reduce the turn timer in multiplayer? Like give people less time to make actions? Because thinking about what you had just said, like, somebody plays something and now you have three other players worth of like time to choose what to do. I would imagine that they should probably shorten the timer a little bit.
They could, but I would also like them to allow us to set the timer maybe, like do like a non-ranked version, because chances are if you're playing multiplayer, you're there's going to be scenarios where you want to play with your friends. And if that's the case, when we're sitting at a kitchen table, there's definitely some times where people take a lot of time just to make simple choices. And it's never really bothered me because we all know that we're not
It
slow
bothers me every
playing the
time.
game. Every fucking time. No, but it's I think if you are gonna just jump into random games, you might want to lower the timer, but also you got to know what you're getting into, and also if they do, I'd like to see it where we can set it to no time limit. That way, if a bunch of friends hop in and want to get weird, that the game isn't going to limit their ability to explore what Magic can do. So,
Yeah.
would you want it turned down the
I
time?
just think you would have to. I think you would because like they still have that system where if you haven't roped that you get is roping Hearthstone or is that expression used
It's
in Arena?
It's an arena too for sure, and
Okay.
it's literally a rope that's burning down on the
All
screen.
right,
So
cool. I wasn't sure where the expression came from, but I just feel like you have to in order to facilitate the games going, especially like you said with randoms. I wouldn't be. It'd be cool if you could set a lobby and it was like this lobby is timer free, or in like Civilization actually, there's when you're playing multiplayer. It's called the dynamic turn timer, and essentially, in the early turns when there's less actions that people need to take, the timer is like 15-20 seconds long, and as the game progresses, the timer increases in length because the game is expecting you to take more actions. So
hmm.
I would be cool if they looked into like a Civilization-esque turn time dynamic turn timer. So first couple turns, you're just playing a land and a one drop or two drop, so give them 15 seconds and call it a day. But then, as the game goes on, make it longer and longer.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, set the time to the where you are in the game, and that'll at least get the game to progress faster, and then at that point, figure it out. Um, I I'm unsure if I know that you can set custom games. A lot of times, me and Troy just send a friend request and set it on like custom 60 card game. I don't know if there's timers in that, so maybe they already have it set where you don't have to worry about timing out. But I don't know. Maybe the timer is there too. I don't really know. When me and
Yeah.
Troy are playing, we don't really time out, which is surprising because we're normally playing at like 11 at night, and one of us is falling asleep. So maybe
Yeah.
I just fall asleep before I notice the ropes. Um, but yeah, so I really look forward to that. I hope Arena has that much future set out for them because I'm loving the fact that I could play this game 24/7. I mean, Commander till I die, but I need my fix all the time, man. I want it all the time. So keep it going, Arena. All right, man. Let's jump into this list of news that was released at, I guess, the Chicago MagicCon.
Yeah.
They announced a whole bunch of new sets coming up. They released pictures. Um, well,
No, bologna sandwich that there was no Magic Con on the East Coast anywhere this year. Like, what the hell?
yeah, it is a bummer. That was honestly, it's one of my favorite things we do is go into
Yeah,
them.
to go. And I was actually looking forward to it this year, too. So
Yeah.
next year
Well,
for sure.
yeah, it means that it's got to come around next time. And I still won't travel over 4 or 5 hours for it. But
No,
if
I
it's
would say,
within 2 to 3,
yeah,
that's
the
good.
Philly or New Jersey, I'd say, we go. But
Yeah. yeah, even New York City, we'll do it. We'll see what the options are. But I wanted to really start with Fallout, but let's
Let's do it.
finish with some Fallout cards. No,
All right,
let's
word.
get through this stuff,
We're
and then
finishing a
because
Fallout. Word.
I really want to savor the Fallout. Just so you know, I ordered the full fucking 4 decks. I just,
Oh,
I,
what? No
dude,
way! I did not see that coming. What the
yeah,
fuck?
I just threw it on a credit card, and
Oh my god, no way. I did not
yeah,
see that fucking coming. Holy shit.
yeah, I fell in love with them, and I needed
Word.
to. So we'll save that because I do I want to enjoy that. But let's get to the news that probably people are really fucking talking about right now. So the first set coming out for us is Thunder Junction, and that's the Midwest set theme with cowboys and gunslingers, and they released a bunch of cards and card treatments and all this and that. The reception that I heard from it is kind of cheesy, kind of what's going on with this artwork. Everybody's just got a cowboy hat on. The artwork seems a little lame. And my initial reaction is you want to believe it. You look at Fibblethip, you see that little blue boy standing there with his little cowboy hat, and you don't know if this is like if I don't know. It feels almost like the cards when they did the My Little Pony. It kind of
Yeah.
feels like that aesthetic, except with hats on. So it'd all be just a bunch of Apple Jacks. I don't know if you.
The cereal.
No, the My Little
Yeah,
Pony.
yeah, I know what you're talking
Okay, all
about.
right, all
Yeah.
right. I don't know whether you watch it or not, but yeah. So, what do you think about this? Yeah, I'm sure you heard the same thing. What do you think of this art? What do you think of the direction of the set? What's your
All
thought?
right. So so first of all, I loved the wanted poster treatment. I think that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Specifically with Tiny Bones, like I really like how that artwork is displayed.
Yeah.
Um, I think that they might be falling into another like Murders of Karlov Manor trap where people don't like this like hyper themed like instead of it being like the planet of like whatever the hell whatever plane we're on, you know what I mean, and then like the themes from there, like Ixalan for example. Ixalan did a great job of like this is the planet of Ixalan and there's like tribes here, but like you kind of felt like they fit. Like this almost feels like it's too focused on like it's a western thing like instead
Yeah.
of it being a plane with like western themes and you're like, "Oh, I see why they did that like thing, that outlaw thing." Like it almost seems
Yeah.
like too on the nose.
Yeah. When I heard this set, I was hoping it would have been very gritty, dark and muted with just like strong red colors to it, and took it very seriously, and everything felt dangerous. It was a dangerous world. Seeing how they went, I'm apprehensive, but I do have to say, I think they're just stepping out with the wrong foot. I think they came out, like when a band has their new album coming out and their first single is the lamest one on the album.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happened here. I think they just want to kind of show off to be clear, like, hey, this is a cowboy set. Here are some clear cowboy cards, but hopefully, as we go through the set, things get a little darker. And I say that because the artwork for Hell to Pay is absolutely amazing
So
and
yeah, I have that brought up
violent.
right now.
Oh, dude, I just the way everything is enveloped in the fury of Rakdos makes me so happy. And the artwork for Rakdos, the strong arm or the muscle, I mean, he looks very menacing and intense. So I'm hoping they can bring a little bit more fierceness and back away from this like child, hey dude, ranch style feel that they came out with. But I do
Uh,
agree, Most Wanted, Borders, and the Borderless are awesome.
how do you feel about their like laser gun hand things? Like they're specifically on Hell to Pay, you could see like the character on the bottom left side like shooting two of the outlaw guns.
I mean, I like it. I think it'll fit. I'm just finishing the fourth book of the Wax and Wayne series from
Oh, dude,
Brandon
yeah.
Sanderson, and
Cosmere shout out.
the way they handled guns was great. So I was kind of hoping they did something like that, but as long as it fits and as long as they are, shooting the shit out of each other, I'm all for this. Um, so we'll see what else comes out. Maybe there'll be some sick rifles that do come in. Did they confirm there's no guns?
I mean, they didn't confirm it, but I actually recently read that like the whole no gun thing goes back like to like the 90s to like antiquities or something. Like they
Yeah.
printed a couple of cards with like some guns on them, and like way back in the 90s they were like, we're not going to do this anymore.
Okay.
Um,
Well, then
so
this is the best way to handle it. If they're not
yeah,
going to put guns on, give us some badass firing swords. Hell yeah.
yeah, it looks like fantasy kind of like. Not like Blade Runner, that's like sci-fi, but like yeah, it's interesting the way they
Yeah.
chose to go.
Yeah. They look like Halo swords to me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We've been playing Master Chief Collection, so
Yeah.
energy
Perfect.
swords all day.
Yeah, I like it. Are there any cards that you want to specifically talk about this, or you just want to cover the set?
I was a little so it's funny. I was a little disappointed by Oko, um, and I only say that because like his first outing was so powerful that he needed to get banned. So it's just funny seeing like the new Oko just not seeming to me to be as powerful. He still makes an elk, but he's not elking whatever he wants, and it's a negative ability this time instead of a plus.
As it
So
should have been.
yeah, I kind of wonder if they maybe overcorrected because the first Oko was so good because I don't really love this one.
Yeah, so I like this one. Obviously, it's not as powerful as the other one. I like that it'll just copy any creature and it has hexproof. I like when there's an opportunity to cheat and finagle, and I mean that's kind of the Wild West right there is cheating and finagling. So I like what they're doing here. I like that the he gets to draw two cards, and if you're committing crimes, things happen. That fits the theme. I think they did a great job thematically to kind of fit this set and also to give options. There, I mean, it becomes a creature. You could draw cards, you can make creatures. I like him, but I do see where there's a disappointment. You really expect something great from, you know, Mr. Oko, and this is just a solid card and nothing more.
How do you feel about the commit a crime mechanic?
I love that they gave that a term. To target something is to commit a crime, and I love that. Right? There's no differentiation. It's just target something is committing a crime.
Yeah, it's from what I remember, it's if like any interaction, if you cast a spell that like targets the opponent or their permanents or makes them do something, it's committing a crime.
Yeah, I think that although this term is clearly isolated for Thunder Junction, that term is going to become almost evergreen. Not so much because at the end of the day, just target, but I think always in the back of our head, whenever we're targeting something, we will be thinking, "I'm committing a crime."
Yeah, he goes like, "Don't target me. That's a crime."
Yeah, yeah, it'll never go away. So, but I like it. The fact that it feels like it's going to stick means it's fine that they gave that a nice flavorful text, so or mechanic or whatever you want to call it. You know,
Actually, before we move on, speaking of like a mechanic kind of thing, also, how do you feel about enters the battlefield being reduced to just enters, starting with Bloomborough? Good
yes,
change, too simple.
yes, no, please. That we are being bombarded with too much text. My I just can't take it. Reading all these going through the Fallout, going through these things, it's so much. You actually have to sit down as if you're studying for something in order to understand what each set is doing now. So just cutting the little things like that, although it's not doing too much, it's a welcome change in my opinion. How about you?
I think I like it too. I think the more they can kind of simplify it, the better. Just like dies means if the creature would be put in the graveyard, from the battlefield, So shrink those words. But my only problem though is that this simplification is great, but at the same time, simplifying it allows them to add more words, other words, because they don't have to waste words on enters the battlefield. So
Yeah.
I almost wonder, like, over time, as we do these, like, condensing these words into, phrases into single words, Is that just going to mean that cards get even more and more and more and more complicated because, it says like 5 words, but those 5 words actually mean like 6 different sentences, and then there's the card effect?
Yeah. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, how about if a card has to enter the graveyard or enter the command zone?
I think that
Um,
specifically is written out.
yeah, absolutely. But there will be those times when sometimes you're reading a card and it's like when this creature enters, so and so happens, and it's like enters where?
Yeah.
Enters where? Oh, okay, right. The battlefield. So I mean, it's fine. We're not gonna we're gonna go right with this. We're gonna read the card. We're gonna know what it's saying. Everything's gonna be comfortable. 90% of the players are gonna be totally fine with this. But I can see there'll be those small case scenarios where people are like, enters where? I got to
Yeah.
Google this. Where are we entering? There's there's tons of zones. Does this actually stand? So we'll see. So ultimately, I got to say, Thunder Junction, although it kind of got poo pooed for its artwork and its style, I think is going to end up being awesome. I'm
I hope
excited for
so.
Thunder Junction. Um, all right, let's go right into
Oh,
Assassin's
actually, hold
Creed.
on. Can we back up to
Ooh.
Thunder Junction? I'm so sorry. We
Womp, womp,
forgot
womp,
to
womp.
mention the bonus sheet in Thunder Junction. With Sword of
Hit
Wealth
me.
and Power.
Oh, okay.
All right, so a couple things with this. Number one, I think the artwork for both the regular version and the showcase version are fucking so goddamn cool. I honestly, I honestly can't decide which of the two I would like more, and I would be more than happy for both of them. Specifically with Sword of Wealth and Power, I'm in love with the ability. Protection from instants and sorceries is huge. In Commander, I'm always looking at this through like a Commander lens, but also the fact that it creates a treasure and then lets you copy an instant or sorcery that you cast. I think that this is like the next. Sword of Feast and Famine has traditionally occupied the greatest Sword of slot in Commander because it untaps all of your lands. I don't think this is as powerful as that because obviously untapping all your lands in late game is like backbreaking for some decks. But I think that creating a treasure token and being able to copy an instant sorcery plus giving protection from instants and sorceries, I think this is going to be like one of the best Commander swords, like top 3 for sure.
Top 3 for sure.
For sure.
Damn. Okay. I first off, artwork. Yeah, dude, I agree. I'm the original artwork, like the original card art, is probably my favorite, only because I have such an urge to extend the borders. The way the flames are like coming in and leaving and everything.
Yeah,
I want to paint this card. I love it. In terms of what it does, it's triggered ability of dealing damage to create a treasure token and to get that double cast of instant and sorcery is, like you said, one of the best activated triggered abilities of this. I think it is so awesome. Those are the two things I want to do the most. I want to make more mana and I want to get more value out of what I'm
for
casting.
sure.
And that is the stuff. The only thing is it's going to be a lot harder to contact with this card. You have no protection in order to get through boards. And that's honestly, when you attach a sword, that's the trick to actually get the
Yeah,
trigger.
the pro black and green, and you're like, oh shit, like that's most colors.
Yeah.
Not
So
most, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, you know how to get through it. And I like this for its protection in terms of all colors are affected and not being able to attack this. I'm just curious. This will probably have to be more selective in what decks it goes into because you're going to want it on either a big creature, you're going to want it on a creature with some sort of evasion or flying or menace or
Trample,
something.
something like that. Yeah,
Right.
a
So
creature that was gonna poke through anyway.
yeah. But if you already have a creature like that and you're trying to choose what sword, by golly, this is the
Yeah, I
sword.
think this is gonna be big.
Yeah. And also, if Thunder Junction ends up having a card that has in its title Yeehaw or Yippee Ki I'm out. I'm done. Dude, I'm praying I don't see that. Just don't do that, please.
That's the one
No
request.
yeehaw. Yeah.
So,
Put it in flavor text, just not on the title, please.
one thing that I thought was interesting is is that this bonus sheet actually wasn't supposed to be a bonus sheet at all. Um, I heard that the I heard that originally there was going to be another Aftermath style set after this one, and because Aftermath like sucked a fat one so hard that Wizards actually changed gears at the like last minute. So now they added the bonus sheet to Outlaws because people just didn't want to deal with another small set like that. And I'm not sure if it's Outlaws or if it's Worth Bloomborough. I can't remember what this is attached to, but whatever one it's attached to, I know it's because it was supposed to be the bonus sheet.
Yeah, the
It's
sword
supposed
I
to be a
believe
separate
is
set.
the sword is definitely with Thunder, and that's good. I'm glad they listened. Definitely, they can't be with the amount of sets that they're releasing right now. They can't be releasing these little crumb sets too. Just tap it onto something else, and this was a perfect way to handle it. It adds more value to a set that is already kind of risky, and it's gonna help. It's a win in the long run for them and for us. So good job. Yay.
Yeah, so
I'm
now
excited for that.
we're gonna have in that apparently Thunder Junction has five sets involved with it. There's the Thunder Junction, there's the Thunder Junction Commander, there's the Thunder Junction bonus sheet like this, there's the special guest sheet, and then there's um another bonus like reprint bonus sheet like the crimes special. Yeah, where
Okay.
like the Thought Seas reprint came from and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
What are your thoughts on that congestion?
it makes me more likely to buy the set. I mean, I always have said that like most of the times what keep me interested in buying packs of something after getting what I need from the main set is just like usually it's valuable reprints out of the off the bonus sheet. Like, I wouldn't mind picking up a mom set pack because you always could head a Ragavan, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it, but I don't, if that's what they're releasing, and as long as it's good cards, yeah, put
yeah,
as many things in there. Have you looked through? Damn, dude, we're still talking Thunder Junction.
yeah,
This is,
there's a
but
lot.
yeah, have you looked at the new Commander decks, the 4 types? So okay,
Yes.
all right, let's call them out real quick. There's Is It Quick Draw, which is slinging multiple spells. There is a Naya Desert Bloom, which is discard lands and then grow them back. They have Grand Larceny, which is Sultai, steal cards and generate mana. Gross. And then they have Mardu, Most Wanted, Earn Treasures, Buy Outlaws. I definitely want to get Most Wanted. I mean, that's my play style. That's everything I want. But these sound like awesome commander decks. They're fucking slaying it right now. What do
Yeah.
we do about this? What do we do? Want it
Honestly,
all.
yeah, like I don't know, man. I remember when there used to be one release of 5 decks every year and we'd have to like pick and like that was it. And we're like, okay, hopefully next year like we like the
Yeah.
decks more. Like, oh god, am I gonna get all of them this year? But like now it's just I don't want to say it's too much because I've often said on the show alone like hey I don't care it's that much. I'm hoping that they continue to put fat reprints in all of these things, bring down the prices of things so that I can buy singles, let people buying precons have very strong like stronger decks to start. So I'm all for it. Let's keep the commander train rolling because I've seen new players come into the game, and it's cool that they can buy a pre-con and hang with the table without really needing to do too much to it.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of mentioned it last week where it's like there might be that day where it's like, what, you're building your own decks? Just why aren't you
Yeah.
just playing the precons? And I mean, after this week, it's kind of like, oh man, yeah, their precons are good, man. They really do know how to build a good magic deck, and it's fun, and they know their cards. So and that's got to be all positive. I can't say that like that's a negative thing, that's
Yeah.
all good stuff. So just hold on to your wallet. It's gonna hurt. All right. Let's go to Modern Horizons 3. That's next on that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Um
Modern
so
Horizons 3.
how do you feel about Modern Horizons 3? Is this something you're
Controversial.
looking forward to? Okay, what's your
Controversial.
thoughts? Hit me.
Well, okay. So there's a couple things here. First is the prices. I have to talk about the prices. The prices for this set are outrageous.
Mm.
Outrageous. Um, so in case I don't know if you knew this, but I'm sure you do, is that they're releasing a set of commander decks to go along with
Oh yeah,
Modern
yeah, yeah.
Horizons 3. Um, which again, I'm fine with. I know a lot of people are saying like, why the fuck does our set that's designed to put cards into Modern come with commander decks that have new cards in them that are not legal in Modern? But hey, like I personally feel like one thing that I didn't enjoy, and I've said before, is that I wish we could have more commander decks that weren't tied to plain specific things.
Yeah.
Like I liked the yearly commander releases because it was just whatever theme they wanted to go with, and they could release new cards that weren't tied to like thematically to anything in specific. So if this is their way of doing that, we're introducing like new cards to Commander without having to be tied to a specific theme. I'm cool with that, but that's me as a Commander player.
Yeah.
But just the pricing is outrageous. Like I think that these were starting at like the regular version starting at like $70 a piece, and then them introducing like collector's edition Commander decks at $150 a piece is is outrageous. Like the set of four is like $500 or something.
You know,
Yeah.
that's that's a bit much. But
Yeah, that's like
I mean,
who has the money to buy like that kind of obviously like we have the whales in the game, but
yeah.
as me who's like a generic general kind of like purchaser who's very enfranchised who does spend some money on the game, like I that's out of my price range.
Yeah, you're like a baby whale, you know? You're like
Yeah,
the everyday whale, you know? I wish I could be that because I get FOMO often with this, and I have to convince myself it's okay, it's not for you. You know, their statement, this set isn't for you. It's okay, it's okay. And I gotta tell myself that, but it is. It's a little hard when you see something awesome that you can't even touch. Um, even if they pack it with all the value in the world. Like we don't know what's in these sets, obviously.
yeah.
But I mean, they could come out where it's got shocks and fetches and
It does.
you
It
know,
has enemy fetches.
oh, okay. All
Oh no,
right. I mean,
allied fetches. It has the Zendikar fetches.
okay. So then I gotta shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's fine. It is what it is. Because I mean, there's people out there right now paying that much money for one card. So if they're gonna put it in a deck and it's gonna be fun and there's gonna be new cards and the just positive, 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 positive. Oh, but it costs money. Man, we already know that. We're,
Yeah.
we we
I mean,
we should all.
I was gonna say Amazon has play boosters for $378 though. I think that's gonna go down as more distributors kind of get the sets? Absolutely. But uh, but yeah, that's a lot. That's
Yeah,
$70 a deck is a lot.
but it wasn't 30th anniversary pack expensive, so
True. True
we got
that.
that going for us. I mean, actually, if you were to buy the whole thing, maybe, but still, you're getting value. It's value, man. It's value. Investments. We're over here doing, being business people doing business things over here, so
One
it's
thing
okay.
that I wanted to point out specifically from Modern Horizons 3 is well, let me go over the new decks actually before I go into it specifically. There's going to be a Jund graveyard based deck, which is cool.
Hell
There's
yeah.
Simic, like ramp, like just standards. I feel like Wizards doesn't know what to do with Simic. Simic is always the same fucking thing. It's always, hey, you play an extra land per turn and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you cast in some big spells. It's just Simic shit. Like it's
Yeah.
so
And all
one
those
note.
spells are coming out with 1/1 counters
Yeah, it's
also.
all one note. This is what I found very, very interesting is that there's going to be a Jeskai energy deck, and I find it so interesting because it comes hot on the heels of the Fallout 3 Jeskai energy deck.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was intentional, where they're like, "Hey, we're just going to juice a bunch of energy support, like double dip because we know it's coming, or if it was more coincidental where they had the plans to do one or the other and the other one just organically came out and they happened to be around the same time. But it seems to me like kind of intense to do two of the same color with essentially the same theme right after each other.
Okay. All right. I did not put that together. I didn't even know that there was going to be more of that. So, and my question then is, I know we're coming to this next. I don't think it was announced in this, but there's going to be like a Fast and Furious style set, like a Hot Wheels race
Yeah, the
to.
Omen Path like racing set.
Okay. Kaladesh has to be involved with that. If there's going to be vehicles all over the place, like there has to be Kaladesh.
Well,
So
I
we
think they
might end
confirmed
up seeing
that.
more. Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, because I think they said that
awesome.
that set is going to actually take place on multiple sets, like multiple planes. And they said it was like three planes. I want to say it's like three planes we've been to before and one completely new one. But I
Mhm.
think like the race goes on through multiple planes, and Kaladesh is one of the ones that was confirmed. I want to say it was like
Okay.
Kaladesh, Kaltime, one other one, and then a new one.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think I feel like I remember this from last year.
Okay, that I mean that all makes sense. So I yeah, I think that they're gonna double down hot and heavy on some energy. So which is fine. Although, do you think this heavy flood of energy is gonna mess the game up a little bit?
No.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of energy in Kaladesh, and from what I've seen from the Fallout decks, there's nothing like back. There's nothing game breaking. It's like it's a fun side little thing. I'm glad
Okay.
that energy is getting support. You know, like it's I'm always
Yeah.
down for when under supported themes get more cards into them. But
Yeah.
I wish that maybe it was like a different like color trio, you know, so that you could like kind of flex like I could take a couple of these Fallout cards and some of those cards from over there and make like a teamer deck if I wanted to, or some, you know, something along that line. The fact that it's the same colors means like if you're building energy, you're in fucking Jeskai. Like that's just the way it is.
Okay. Well, I mean, I like it. I honestly, energy doesn't. It's not something I'm really interested in. Even they could give me the sexiest energy card in the world, and I'm just not.
Not
I
about
don't
it.
know. It doesn't resonate. You know something I hope they keep on bringing back is I want madness, madness all day. I love madness.
Well, actually, I was gonna say that's what a transition because the last new commander deck that's coming out with Modern Horizons 3 is Eldrazi Incursion, which seems to be a five color or maybe six color if you know you count the colorless symbol that they're including in like the box art Eldrazi deck, and with that comes a new Emrakul,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Do you
is
want to read it? Give that card a read because that's something.
yeah. All right, so let's pull up the new Emrakul here.
It's startling that they're just casually dropping a new Titan, and it's not a Titan on the card. It's just an Eldrazi.
Yeah. So and Emrakul, the World Anew, is 12 mana, just 12 generic. Legendary creature Eldrazi for a 12/12. When you cast this spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls.
Oof.
Flying, protection, and notice that that does not say until the end of turn. It's
Yeah,
just gain control of all creatures target player controls.
yeah,
Flying, protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. So essentially, it's protection from ETBs. Um,
yeah,
not ETBs, but close to because you could obviously blink something, but
yeah.
that's pretty cool. And then when Emrakul, the World's Anew, leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. So, and then the last bit, as you said, Madness, six colorless pips. So this is
Yeah,
crazy cool.
yeah, man. This is an Eldrazi done right. I do not enjoy um uh what's it Annihilator. I don't like that. So having it be this powerful, but without having to actually exile lands and stuff like this is the best way to make a fearful, fucking amazing Eldrazi. I like this card. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of this card. It's 100% going into my Eldrazi deck. No
Yeah.
questions about that.
Yeah.
Um, I love the fact that you get to keep everything that you gain control of, so that's pretty cool. And that if it dies, that that person doesn't get them back. You're sacrificing them all. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess also if you cast it, you could blink it yourself and just like delete an entire player's board, which would it's pretty powerful. Interesting the madness part of it too. Being able to cast it that quickly. You could ditch it with like a like thrill possibilities or something. You know what I mean? Whatever card, like one of those cards.
Yeah.
Um, and cast it for 6. That's cool. So I'm a big fan overall.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying so hard how to see to make this work. Again, this is one of those cards that are not breaking any of my rules. Like I don't play stuff like Vorinclex and stuff like this that really holds down my opponent's Annihilator. But this is just fair enough to where I'm okay to cast this. And I've been playing Madness since I started. I mean, was it Innistrad? Uh what was the Eldrazi, the original Eldrazi Innistrad set? What am I thinking of? Eldritch Moon and all that
Yeah,
stuff? Yes. Okay. I played Madness all throughout the standard. I love Madness. I want to cast things that I'm discarding all the time. I'm trying so hard how to find out to make this work. And I think it might have to be Massacre Girl because I already have a lot of colorless because it's an artifact deck and I'm discarding all the time because it's a black deck. So I might be able to make this work, and that's my goal.
not
Because
interested in Anjay Falconwrath.
no,
Angie.
it's uh, I feel like I missed my time to build that. Now it's I know a little bit competitive and a little salty, and if people see me playing that, they're gonna assume I'm doing something broken. And
Good.
yeah, and then I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything broken, and then I drop Emrakul, and it's like, you liar. So I don't want to build her. I missed my opportunity, and I got to find a new home for Emrakul. But probably my favorite card. I'm not into modern. This set really isn't talking much to me. So I'm the guy who, even though this is so expensive, these cards are meant for. I like this, and even if I can't buy whole decks, I will try to get my hands on an Emrakul. I will try to get my hands on, whatever cool stuff they have. So that's how Modern Horizons will get my money is through this set that people might not like. Um, what do you think of the flip planeswalkers coming back in this set?
Love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Modern Origins, Magic Origins. I feel like Origins kind of holds a special place in my heart because it kind of marks the time when you and I started playing Magic again. Um,
Yep.
in my head. So like that's kind of like also just how Pioneer starts there too. It just seems like modern Magic starts here, even though quote unquote modern is like much older now. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I all of those flip walkers ended up doing something. They were interesting. Most of them were powerful in their own way, and you still see them from time to time now. I remember when the flip Jace was fucking like $60 a piece. You know what I mean? Like what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, it's not that crazy anymore, but still. So the one we've seen with a Johnny was my favorite Planeswalker for the longest time. So glad to see he's getting something. And then I know that Tamio, the art was spoiled, so I like Tamio as well. The art looks cool. So overall, I'm into it. I like that flavor in the set.
Johnny died, right?
No, he survived.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I know Tamio died. And
Yeah.
if
So
Johnny died, I'm like, are they bringing all the dead ones? Are we going to get a
no,
flip
yeah,
Gideon? Oh, no. No way.
A Johnny was cured or something.
Okay.
Which was
The
kind of
same
like a
way,
cup.
well, Veraska was cured too, right? Because she's in
Yeah, well,
Thunder.
she's in Thunder, yeah, but yeah, Johnny was cured by like the world, like Ren in the World Tree or whatever the fuck. Like I think maybe that did something, or yeah, but
Hmm.
a Johnny's okay, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Good. I'm glad. He's always good. And I like how you called it modern origins instead of magic origins because that
Oh
fits this
yeah,
very well. Coin that term, man. This is some modern origins cards. Um, so I like this. I remember when we both started playing again, and I mean Liliana, the flip Lily was my first true love in Commander. My mono deck Lily was what caused me to just fall head over heels in love with Commander. So I owe everything to Magic Origins in terms of where I am in Magic and also where I am in Commander. So thank you, Origins. It was my origin, some would say. Uh, anything else with Modern Horizons 3, man?
No, I'm excited for it. It's way too fucking expensive. Hopefully the prices come down like Commander
Yeah.
Masters did. Um,
Yeah,
I'll
we'll talk
probably
about the
end.
free spells when the whole set is the whole like
Yeah,
list is released. You know, we'll cover
exactly.
it later.
Snow covered wastes is interesting. Um, I hope that they do, because I don't know if you were aware of this, but like back when Battle for Zendikar first came out, and maybe it was even whatever the set after that, Oath of the Gatewatch. There was a thing called Eldrazi Winter and Modern, and it was because like some of the new Eldrazi cards that were printed ended up being like broken, like stupid strong. I forget what cards were specifically like overpowered, but it was like when Thought Not Seer was like very expensive and
Yeah, World Breaker was one of them. I don't
yeah,
know.
and
I
and and
remember that
uh
shit, but
the smasher, like the thing, whatever. So it was extremely powerful. I wonder if snow covered wastes is there's going to be, maybe there will be some sort of joke like, oh, Eldrazi winter card, like as like a throwback to
ooh,
that, because people were like, oh, snow Eldrazi Eldrazi winter. We'll see. That's the only thing.
they should. I mean, that makes sense. Listen, play that up, whatever. I like I liked Ingest. That was a good thing. You know, bring
Oh, I
back
loved it.
Ingest. The fact that you're just using the exile, like the Eldrazi using exile as like a source,
Oh
just
yeah, dude.
pulling, just ripping things from exile as fuel.
Bro,
Oh, I love that.
Silk Rep, turn 2 on their play, into turn 3, the Ingester, the 3 mana, like it was 2 and a black, ingest something, you get like a card or whatever the fuck out of it. I loved the white black
Yes.
Exile Eldrazi deck. That was one of my favorite standard decks.
Yeah. Yeah. Good shit. Oh, hopefully there's a whole nother world of ingest someday.
I
I
will
love
say,
using all
oh, go
exile,
ahead and finish.
exile and graveyard. I love
Yeah.
using all the spots. Hit all the spots.
Um, I will say though that I don't think I'll get the commander deck though, because my Eldrazi deck is colorless. From It's built off the bones of the Commander Master's Eldrazi deck. This
Yeah.
one is supposed to be 5 color, and I'm really gonna try to fight the urge to, because what I'm assuming they're gonna do is they're gonna do some sort of like, hey, play all of your devoid, because all of the devoid
Mm,
cards technically have the ruling that they're colorless, but for commander they still count as a color. So I'm
yeah.
assuming this deck is to catch all of those into one deck. I'm gonna try to avoid doing that because I like the limiting factor of just colorless only. I feel like Eldrazi are strong enough without, like, that hurdle makes it a little bit more fair that you only have access to so much stuff. I do hope there's
Yeah.
more colorless support, like some interaction spells, because there's only like 3 removal that are less than 7 mana to cast. So I hope for that, but I don't think I'm gonna end up getting the whole thing.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I really like your Eldrazi deck, and I do like the fact that it has that limitation of, hey, make it happen without colors. So for sure.
All right, and that's the final thought for me.
Yeah, yeah. Modern Horizons. Just make some cool cards and we'll buy singles. Thank you. All right, let's go to Assassin's Creed because honestly, looking through it, I think Assassin's Creed was what impressed me the most from what was released. I mean, and let me temper that. I love the artwork. I love the border frames. I love um, the flavor text. I love. I think they did a really good job of encapsulating what Assassin's Creed is in a Magic the Gathering, setting. The artwork is, I mean, even like Haystack, I mean
Yeah,
that
that's
that hits, and
yeah,
all of the people, Ezio, and they're all there. It's doing its job. I mean, I see there's a sort of feast and famine in here.
that's cool.
Yeah, the the artwork, the animus, how okay. So in terms of the Assassin's Creed, I love it. I think the cards are cool. I mean, they announced some. We're not going to talk about any yet, but I love it. How do you feel about that? And then how do you feel about the fact that they put real people
Okay,
into it?
so I have mixed feelings. I will say that when I heard about Assassin's Creed, I was not interested. I am not an Assassin's Creed player. I don't care. I played Black Flag and I liked that. That's the only one I really played about, so I don't care. However, as a Magic player, seeing the cards, I am a big fan of what they did with like the main assassins. I like, what was it? Free running seems like a cool ability, and
Yep.
the art style of like the showcase frame with like the cool like pixelated like border is cool, like, and I know that it's because they like go in that machine, the Animus, to go back in time to mind meld or whatever the fuck. That's all cool to me, super cool to that. I have to say that I am not a fan of the real people in the game. I
Ooh,
am not a
okay.
fan. And this is as somebody who, I have no problem with universes beyond. I don't mind that Optimus Prime is gonna eventually fight Mega Man, who's gonna fight Dogmeat from Fallout, who's gonna fight, Chun-Li from Street Fighter. That's all cool with me because it's all fantasy. But like now that we're stepping into like, I feel like the real people is just a bridge too far for me personally.
My boy Leonardo da Vinci is not your cup of tea, huh?
I don't know what it is. It just feels like my brain can wrap around having like all these fantasy worlds colliding, but then now it's just like the Mona Lisa is in a picture. Like that's on a card now, the Mona Lisa. So like what? That's too much for me.
I doesn't bother me at all, honestly. So when I was on vacation the past 2 days with my family, and we're laying in the hotel bed and we're watching SpongeBob, and I legitimately was like, "Man, I can't wait for some SpongeBob cards." I please give me his jellyfish catcher as a legendary artifact.
Yeah, the
I'm okay with
Alaskan
it.
bullworm, like a 12/12 green creature.
Yes, Atla Palani just laying one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with all this. I do like the fact that one, the artwork for them, the borderless art is a very well done version of who they were, and it's written in their original, the historical figures language,
Which is cool.
which
That's definitely cool.
yeah, they handled it the best way they could have. I'm not taking the time to read all these. Like I said, Fallout was where I put my focus. I'm
Yeah,
not
we'll
reading
get
all
we'll
these
get
cards
there
yet.
when the full
Yeah,
set's announced, but
but
just hot
hopefully
takes.
hopefully they laid it on all well. But I do want to shout out, they have Hidden Blade here. So Hidden Blade is a 2 mana artifact equipment with flash. When Hidden Blade enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. If that creature is an assassin, it gains death touch until end of turn. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has first strike. Equip for 2. I think this is the best equipment. Like, if Hidden Blade had to be an equipment, like, I just picture all of it. It has flash. If it's an assassin, it's just right there. That assassin suddenly has the Hidden
Bop.
Blade. +1, death touch, first strike. I mean, ah, the flavor
Yeah.
on that is great. So I think they gave this a lot more love than a lot of people are going to give it credit, and I'm going to pay attention to this set as it's getting released.
I mean, there's only gonna be like 50 cards or whatever, so you're good.
Good, good. This will be something I
Get
cherish. I'll
all you
probably
want.
grab a bunch. And the borderless art, I mean, there's the ones with the golden, kind of the animus border. I mean, they look so good. They did a great job taking care of this set with the IP. So hell yeah. Assassin's Creed delivering. But let's go on to the next one here. So this is a weird one, man. We are after in standard after Thunder Junction, we will be going to Bloomborough.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Furry paradise, baby. Give me that furry. All right. So this is set in a world of all animals. They
Yep,
all
no
talk.
humans whatsoever.
And much to my surprise, there are planeswalkers that are showing up in here that we know, such as Jace and I think Zal or Val. What did that? Is it guy? Ral? Oh, hold on. Wait, I can't hear you. Did you hit something on your microphone? You're muted.
Am I back?
Boom, you're back. All right,
Ral Zarek.
Ral Zarek. Yes, and they animals, man. They fuzzy little animals.
So,
An
one thing
otter.
is that I feel like I read that this is this is just what the planeswalker would be like if they were on the plane, but I don't think story-wise that the planeswalkers are on the plane.
Okay, so this is almost like a bonus sheet or like an alternate art treatment or something.
Not exactly sure how that's
Okay,
gonna go down. I just feel like I remember reading that like Jace is not a fox on Bloomborough. It's just if Jace was on Bloomborough and he was a part of the thing, he would be a fox. You know what I mean? Like that
he
sort of
would be
thing.
a sneaky little fox. He
Yeah,
would.
so
That makes sense.
but I'm not 100% sure about that, so we'll have to see. But yeah, from story-wise at least I don't think they're there.
All right. Well, right on the artwork here, looking at Jace, he's surrounded by frogs, and that gets me very excited because that's what I was calling.
Yeah,
I want frogs.
frogs.
So Jace has the frogs.
I
I
mean
want it.
the art has a frog holding a battle axe on it, so you're going to get something.
Glarb Calamity's Augur. Yeah, look at that. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Shoddy that. If that's a good card, I want to build that one because I've been trying for
No,
years now.
you've called for frogs since the get-go. You got frogs
Since the
down.
get-go. Ah! I love that. That's good. Colon frog since the get-go. Yeah, this is I like the artwork. I almost feel like some of the artwork kind of accidentally got rolled into Thunder Junction. Some of the
Really?
artwork that was shown, well, I mean, some of the Thunder Junction artwork looks a little too similar to this like playful, soft style of Bloomborough, where I mean, like I said, some of the artwork in Thunder Junction looks pretty fucking intense, and then some of it looks so friendly, it almost feels like it should have been part of Bloomborough. So I don't know. I wish they would have just left them two totally separate. Leave, you know, Thunder Junction all rugged and hard and gritty,
Yeah.
and then leave all the pretty, round, soft, big, doughy eyed. You know, like Fibblethip is so flamboyant looking in his artwork. And I know he's a harmless creature for the most part, but like, you know, give me a nice rugged Fibblethip for once. So
One thing I will
uh,
say though is they did show the commander decks for this set as well, and I am very interested that they're doing another Jeskai deck in this one, and they're doing a Bant deck which follows on the heels of the Bant from Murders. I'm glad that they're not sticking to themes with colors now anymore, but they do seem to be kind of hitting the same color pairs a lot. Like we're getting a Jeskai deck in Fallout, and then Modern Horizons 3, and then in Bloomborough. It just seems like a lot of the same kind of color combos.
yeah. Now, I don't know, maybe if you look back in the stats that these are some color combos that have not been getting love and they're just kind of trying to make up for lost time. Uh, I don't know if maybe there's something behind that that we're not noticing because you're right. I mean, why would you just keep on putting the same, especially in something like a three color, like, you know,
Yeah, where's the
spread the
Boros
love.
decks at?
Yeah. Uh, talking of Boros, I was talking to Connor. I'm gonna see him over the weekend, and he was saying he's putting together a whole bunch of Boros. He keeps calling it, you know, like a raving man, you know, yelling at the moon. He's like, "It's year of the Boros! It's year of the Boros!" And he's going for it, man.
Yeah,
He's doing
good.
it. I'm so excited. So he's
Making it happen.
yeah, I love that we have people in our play group like that to just, you know, proclaim something and just start building for it. You
Make
know,
it
that's
happen.
yeah. So I'm excited to see what he's doing with it, and I'll keep you in touch the moment they're ready to play. Come on up. We'll go on over to their new house, check out the new house, and play some Magic. So, Connor, if you're listening, let us know when you're ready for us. We're ready to come on in, play some
Any
Boros.
thoughts on any of the specific Bloomborough cards that were spoiled?
So again,
So there's only been like four.
I didn't read them so much. I know that here over here it's Mabel. It's got a mice tribal. That's good. Keep it coming. I see a bear. I don't
That
really
bear
know
is
what to
fucking
think.
good.
Okay, all right. So let's read it here then. Lumra, Bellow of the Woods, 4 green green. Power and toughness, star, star. It's a legendary elemental bear. This bear has vigilance and reach. Lumra. Um, Lumra's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So that's a pretty basic thing for green. When Lumra enters mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Woof. Okay, so she's a 6 mana, 6/6 probably, which can at the very most bring 4 lands out. So it's a 6 mana, 6/6, get 4 lands, get 2 lands, and then it becomes bigger. It's got vigilance, it's got reach. That's a very protective mama bear right there. But what format is this for? Oh,
Cards at all.
you're there you go.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
you're
me
back.
again. Okay, I'm so sorry. I was going to say it's not limited to 4 lands. It's all lands in your graveyard come to the battlefield tapped.
Oh, okay.
So if you're playing fetch lands,
Oh,
if
gross.
you're sacking like Strip Mine or Ghost Quarter or Wasteland
Oh yeah.
or any of those, it's all coming back to you. Your Terramorphic Expanses and your Evolving Wilds all's coming back. And
Damn.
it's when it's ETBs, not when it's cast. So if you can blink this at all, you can sack all your fetches again and then get them right back. You have all those landfall triggers for any landfall type of deck. In any deck where you're milling, like you're doing graveyard recursion, if you mill any of your lands, you get them all back with this. So
I mean, I like it. You know, as I'm reading this, it says when Lumra enters, mill 4 cards. And that is kind of reading weird to me, actually. I want to
yeah,
see the battlefield.
yeah, it's we got to get used to it.
Yeah. So okay, so this bear actually it'll do a lot more than I'm thinking of. And if you pull all those lands back in and you get all these land triggers and now you're doing landfall stuff, it's also growing the fuck out of this vigilance reach bear. So okay.
I love that they gave it reach too. By the way, I feel like that I built Ayula when Ayula was first out. And green, mono green historically has issues hitting people in the sky. You have like gravity well and whirlwind and shit like that, which helps you with flyers. But overall, it's you got to get some reach in there. They don't really have a lot of flying, so I'm glad this guy is flying. I mean, reach rather.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it. Honestly, this set seems like it's gonna resonate with me more than um what they've been doing.
Yeah,
It seems like weird art, but for some reason it seems to fit really well. There's just something about Thunder Junction that rubbed me wrong initially upon seeing it all. And like I said, I hope it was all just a mistake and everything's good. But I mean, right now that these few, even just Mabel, this little mouse, everything seems to really feel good.
yeah. Plus, if anyone
So
ever read Redwall, this is literally just Redwall the set.
never read it. Did you read
Oh yeah,
it?
I read all of them. They're fantastic. Great young adult fiction reading. Um, I'm also a big fan of, some people hate on the anime art. I'm excited to see little anime mice with cool anime elemental wolves fighting with elemental frogs, anime frogs. So
Yeah,
down for that.
yeah. You can't threaten me with weird art. I'm all for it. All right, man. Let's get into Fallout Commander. I want to
All
just
right,
I want to
finally,
get
yeah.
now that I've read it, now that I know what's going on, I want to talk about it. Let's do it. We're an hour in, but let's do this. And actually, before we do Fallout Commander, I'm going to pause this for 1 second, grab one more beverage. That
Go.
way, I ruin all my thoughts. Let's do this.
Oh, it's a crisp
All
one.
right, I'm ready for this. All right, all right. So there's been a lot of well, not a lot, but there have been these sets of Beyond Universe commander decks that have been coming out. Warhammer was the last, well, not the last one. There's also been the Doctor Who.
Doctor Who was the most recent.
Yes, they have all hit it out of the park. The perception is Fallout was going to hit it out of the park, and I didn't follow it. I know you're a huge fan of Fallout.
Yep.
I've been feeding the hype off of you, um, and then
I
I
actually
read them.
restarted playing 4 actually.
Okay, yeah. So I text you. I started playing 4 also. I haven't had too much time to play, but I love where it's going so far. The gameplay is really good. I'm excited. It got me. It did what it needed to do. It got you, an old time player, playing, and me, someone who's never played, to start it.
Does it get
So
you interested in the show at all? Because that's another reason the set's coming out.
I don't even know that there's a show coming out, honestly.
After this podcast, go watch the trailer. It's pretty fucking cool.
Okay, cool. So you're saying that that looks like it's going to be good also?
As a huge Fallout fan, New Vegas is what I would say arguably my favorite game of all time. I would say that what I've seen of just the trailer seems like, unlike the Halo trailer, like very excited about it. It looks fantastic. The creatures and the armors and things all look like they belong, and it doesn't look cheesy to me. The stills that I've seen all are very exciting, so I have high hopes. I mean, I know it's Amazon Prime, and Rings of Power wasn't very well received, and the Halo show got botched pretty hard. So it's always possible that it could suck ass. But I am excited upon initial viewing of the show.
Okay, awesome. Then I am too. I mean, you got a good judge on this stuff, and if they're treating this IPA anything like Magic did, then it should at least be halfway decent.
Yeah. All right. So
Um,
back to the decks though.
yeah. All right. So yeah, I read these all. I read what these cards do. I read the reprints. I did as much research as I could. I was so impressed with what they're trying to do with these decks and how tight they all play and what the new cards do. That, like I said, I went and just ordered them. I've never done that. I don't buy the full set. This is my first time, especially right now as I just went back to work. I just I really like what they're trying to do with this, and I wanted to get it. Now it seems like there's a lot of value in these cards also. The new cards are powerful, the reprints are great, and I just want to say good job, Wizards. You got me. You got me so good. And the art is fantastic. So before we get into actual breakdown of cards, is there a deck that you like the most? Is there, you know, something you really said went above?
I like all of them, honestly. I like them all for different reasons. Um, I like I'm start some of them are going to get broken into other things for sure. Some of them will probably stay whole. Like right now, just off the bat, I could say that the Caesar's Legion deck will probably remain whole for me.
Yeah.
I like Caesar. I don't really want to go like if I were to build a Mardu deck, it probably wouldn't be the go wide kind of sacrifice value deck. What I will do though is pull Mr. House out of there and make a Mr. House Mardu dice rolling deck, and that'll be like my fun, like personal build Mardu deck. So like that's why I don't need two Mardu decks. So just leave the rest of the precon together, and then conversely, the Naya Voltron-y kind of auras and equipment deck is definitely going to get morphed into something because I was building Ural Miststalker already. I already had like the deck
Mhm.
list put out, and then I realized that this whole deck was like, Voltron-y. So it's just going to be those two ideas kind of merged, and then I'll make like a Ural deck with like heavy Fallout influence because a lot of the cards in here are fantastic
Yeah. Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree. I think Caesar is probably the one that I was the most impressed with. Um, they're all good. The only one that I wasn't too impressed with, and not that it's not I wasn't impressed, I haven't really cared for, is the energy one. Just because, like I said, it's not something I really want to be doing. So I didn't look into it. It's coming with the package.
Yeah,
Everything else
energy
is
will
good.
probably be like a couple upgrades for me, like a few tweaks, mostly the same. And then the mutant one is the one that I'm most on the fence about if it stays together or if it's going to become something else. I don't really have an idea for it yet, so for the time being it'll stay together, but I could see myself like tinkering with that over time.
Yeah. I honestly, I might keep them all together. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is take a few of the singles that I need for other decks out because obviously there's a lot of value cards in there, and some of the new cards are going to be expensive to buy single. So I might take them out and replace them proxy. That way, I always have these precons made up to play against each other for if new players come. If I want to, if we were
You want
playing
to do lower
newer
powered
players,
games, yeah.
right? I think that they look cool enough to where it'll play well together. So I might keep them together. pull out a few cards and then proxy. That way I always have them just as precons.
Yeah.
I don't have any precons. Even my Galadriel is upgraded, 6 to 8 cards, but it's a significant upgrade for, just those few cards. So I think I'm going to leave them together and just pull a few cards out. Um, the problem with that though is a lot of the commanders that aren't the face commanders or the secondary commanders, there's just legendary creatures in this set that really, really impressed me. Um, Kate Cage Brawler is one that I want to bring up.
Yeah, she's cool.
Oh, dude. So Kate Cage Brawler is red and green. So it's a 2 mana commander for a 1/1. She's a human warrior. As long as it's your turn, Kate Cage Brawler has indestructible. When Kate attacks, you and defending player each draw a card, which is cool, and then discard a card. Put 2/1/1 counters on Kate if you discarded the card with the highest mana value among those or tied. So I love these little mini things that happen in Magic. And the fact that it's like, listen, I'm going to swing at you. We're each going to draw a card, but then we're also going to discard a card. Let's see what happens. You're not going to lose Kate because she has indestructible on the swing. You each draw a card, which is awesome. And then it's that kind of this draw moment of, all right, 1, 2, 3, discard, and see who discarded something better. And this is a great way to build a Gruul massive stuff in your graveyard and take advantage of it. And I've never built anything like this. I really, really, really want to go deep into what Kate can do. So she'll definitely get pulled out and replaced with a proxy.
I'm interested to see where you go with this because my brain kind of goes in two different directions. One part of my brain says like, well, clearly you want to focus on Kate getting stronger, and using Kate to kind of end the game, doing commander damage and getting the counters, and she's indestructible, so like you want to keep swinging with her. But on the other hand, to get her the counters, you want to probably have a higher curve, like a higher mana cost kind of thing. So then it's like if you're already having like higher mana cost creatures, are you just kind of like banking on, banking on like the larger creatures to go with? Is it like a large creature deck? Is it a cake focused deck? Like I'm interested to see where you end up going with that.
Yeah, it's going to be more the graveyard and large creatures. Kate is going to be just fueling the
Like a
fire.
facilitator.
Yeah, and I mean, and also a threat. It's now suddenly it's something that isn't part of the game plan that people are going to have to deal with because eventually there's going to be a 6, or 7/7, a 9/9 coming at you, and it's indestructible. And now yes, you are drawing a card, but you do have to discard a card, and you have to handle this creature coming at you, and it puts it in a predicament where you kind of accept the card draw, and of course you could always chump block it. But what if now Kate has trample, and because there's Brawn, which can go to the graveyard, which gives all creatures trample, right? Is it Brawn?
Yeah, I want to say so.
You could start dropping Angers in the graveyard. There's a lot of stuff you can pop in the graveyard where
What's
just
the
it being
white
in the
one?
graveyard. Ooh, I don't
Because
know.
Wonder is blue and that's flying. Anger is red and trample. Brawn is green. Sorry, anger is red and haste. Green is brawn and trample. What is blue? What is white and what is black?
Hmm. All right, let's see. Brawn Wonder Cycle. All right. So we have Anger, Brawn, Filth. As long as Filth is in your graveyard, and you control a swamp, creatures you control have Swamp Walk,
All right, so
which is
that's
all right.
terrible.
Glory is the white one, which you have to pay 3 mana and choose a color. Creatures you control. Uh, so yeah, pay 3 mana, choose a color. Creatures you control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. Activated only if it's in your graveyard. So you have to pay
Okay.
mana in order to use that one.
Okay.
Protection's nice,
That's
but it costs
yeah,
mana.
that's yeah. Compared
Hmm.
to the other three, it's like white and black kind of got Black definitely got the shaft hard on that one. That was Swamp Walk
Yeah,
was
Swamp
terrible.
Walk. At least you don't have to pay mana to get it.
True, yeah, but at least like you could alpha swing through their blockers with the protection.
Do you think if Glory said, as long as it's in your graveyard and you control a
Planes.
plains, all creatures you control have lifelink? Do you think that would be too much?
I think that would be not as good as flying and haste and trample.
Oh man, because I'm thinking like that might be too good.
No, I think that's on par. I think
Okay,
that's
so yeah,
because
they fucked up then.
flying is very strong in my opinion, and trample so as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so is
because
haste.
you're right. You're right because lifelink will elongate the game, but it ain't gonna win you the game.
Yeah,
Flying is gonna win you the game.
100%. Trample is going to win you the game, and haste could very easily win you the game too with like dropping everything on the same turn. You know what I mean? Like yes, as long
Yeah.
as you have it in your graveyard, the rest of the game, everything you play could just attack. That's too good.
Well, I guess for the 3 mana, you can ultimately say 3 mana, your creatures are unblockable. Depending on what colors you're playing against, it's
Yeah,
3 mana.
it's
You
that's definitely not as
know, okay.
bad, but I black is just swamp block's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Boo.
Yeah, boo
Uh,
swamp block.
but yeah, so yeah, Kate, something about Kate I really like. Are there any like legendaries that you would build around other than Doctor Head or whatever, Mister
Doctor,
House, Mister House?
not since college.
That was my nickname.
um, no, honestly, I have to say it's surprising to me that no, none of them really like stand out as one that I would want to pull to build around specifically. I just like the bones of these decks. Like I could see myself tinkering with the bones. Besides
Mm,
the fact that like the Naya one is just gonna get like cut in half and fused with another deck to make something brand new.
mm.
Um, I like them kind of within themselves. I really like the rad counter mechanic. I wish there was more rad support. Um,
So I like the rad counter. I wasn't too sure, honestly, what the rad counter did. I'm reading all these cards, and I'm like, I thought rad counter was actually in fact, which at all.
no, it's not in
Uh,
fact.
so rad counter is at the well. I guess what we should do is read it.
Reading the card explains the card.
I love it. All right, so radiation, a rad counter. Let's do this. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So ultimately, rad counters are something that are going to stack up, and at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you're going to have to mill, and possibly those rad counters will be removed but turned into damage, depending on what gets milled.
Yeah,
So they're built up as potential damage. I like that. Not what I thought it was. So when I read the Master Transcendent, which is 1 black, green, blue, it's a artifact creature mutant. When the Master Transcendent enters the battlefield, target player gets 2 rad counters. These are colors that you could definitely blink the shit out of the Master. So
oh
there's
yeah,
ways to where you could just blink him a ton, give someone like 100 rad counters, pass turn, and mill him out. You know, but he also says you can tap him and put a target creature card in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control. It's a green mutant with base power and toughness 3/3. So if you don't want to use him to mill someone out, you can use him to take things that are being removed from radiation. I love the idea of this.
yeah.
Great use of rad. Rad? Raid? Is it rad?
It's rad. Yeah, rad
Okay.
counters.
All right.
But then
Um,
also the Wise Mothman is another great way to use it, which is what I love about this deck is that both of the two faces seem like they could be used because the Wise Mothman is one green, black, green, blue for a 3/3 with flying. Whenever the Wise Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way.
hmm.
So every time you're giving everyone a rad counter. I'm assuming you're putting more mill support in here too. I actually was gonna consider telling Joey to like. I know that Joey likes to have his Theros God themed kind of decks, but
Yeah.
it seems like if I were building a mill deck, I would probably go maybe with the Wise Mothman, maybe with you know what I mean? Like I feel like adding black or rather adding adding green would be a
Yeah,
powerful way to boost your milling. Because you're milling
yeah,
people anyway, and then all of a sudden you're putting 1/1 counters on a bunch of different things, and
yeah.
every
And I
turn everyone's milling.
Yeah, I really like that you can proliferate with this. Also, these are good colors to proliferate with. So
Yeah.
um, you can definitely, you know, use this for the rad, proliferate. Maybe throw a little planeswalker sub theme while you're proliferating, and really kind of get carried away with some fun stuff. I like it. Um, Another thing I really like is junk tokens.
Yeah, junk tokens are cool as hell.
That's another thing that was it ever in Magic? Is junk token only for this?
Yeah, this is new.
Okay. Dude, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it yet. I want to sit down with all these cards, rip them open, but I'm also going to have to build myself a junk token deck. This is Fallout is probably the most prolific set that has hit me to where I want to build around in the longest
Multiple,
time.
yeah, multiple things.
Woof.
For
There's
me, go on, go on,
yes.
go on.
Oh no, I'm going to read another card. So what do you got on that?
Oh, for me is that so I know you would just ask me which legendary creature I'd build around to pull out besides Mr. House, and it's not a legendary creature, but I do think that I will end up probably shoehorning all 7 bobbleheads into my clue deck because it's my only like artifact matters kind of deck. But I definitely want a all because not all of the bobbleheads come in every precon. Like every precon has 2 to 3 of them,
Yeah.
and I definitely want a deck that has all 7 in one.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good spot for it.
And I might even cut them. I might even to make upgrades to all of them, just cut the bobbleheads from every single one, and then
To find a new home.
yeah, put them all together elsewhere, and then use those spots for for a little bit of upgrading.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, so I don't know. I didn't read the bobbleheads so much. I know that they're artifacts. They're like mana rocks that do other stuff, correct?
Yeah, all of them are 3 mana. I think they're all 3 mana to play. But they all tap for 1 mana of any color. I believe they're all three. They all tap for 1 mana of any color, so they're all essentially what the fuck card is that? Dark Steel Ingots. Right, is I
Okay.
believe a 3 mana tap for any color, and then they all have some ability where you pay mana, tap it, and then do something based on the number of bobbleheads you control. So, for instance,
Ooh.
Intelligence is 5 mana, draw X cards, where X cards is number of bobbleheads. Endurance is up to X target creatures get +1/+0 and indestructible, which is the number of bobbleheads. Agility 3 mana X creatures get haste and can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. So they all do something like that based on how many bobbleheads you have out.
Wow. Okay. That's cool that you have a home for it too. Um,
Yeah.
I I could possibly put it into Massacre Girl, but I got to read and make sure that the activated abilities are better than the weird shit I got in there now. But that's cool. Um, the art. Okay, well, let me read this before we get into the artwork. I got a few more cards I want to highlight that I really think are something else. The first one is Lily Bowen, Raging Grandma
Yeah, Lily from Fallout 3.
from Fallout 3. Okay. So this is 3 and a green. It's a mutant warrior with vigilance. When Bowen, Raging Grandma enters the battlefield with 2/1/1 counters on it. So it's a 0/0, comes in as a 2/2 for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of 1/1 counters on Lily if its power is 16 or less. Otherwise, remove all but one counter. Then you gain 1 life for each 1/1 counter removed this way. I love that this is this growing problem that
Oh
people
shit,
are
New
gonna
Vegas. Sorry, New Vegas.
New Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll allow
All right,
it.
go on.
I love that it's growing. I love that it's a threat. People are gonna. It's suddenly going to be very, very much a problem. Very much a problem. People are worried. Oh, what are we gonna do about it? And then suddenly it turns to a 1/1, and everyone kind of relaxes and calms. But you possibly just gained 16, 14, whatever life it was. It's this thing where you're going to watch a wave of fear come and go, and you're gaining life without them really noticing that part because of the fact of the threat that it is as a creature and not so much of what it's doing in the life gain. I'm sure eventually it'll be caught on, but are there any ways to stop it from losing the counters, just allow it to keep on growing
I guess if you skip your upkeep somehow.
during your upkeep. Well, no, because you
I don't
have
know if
to you double it in the upkeep also.
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you. I don't know if there's got to be. I'm fairly certain there's got to be a card that says like you could choose a face to skip.
Oh my god, dude! All will be one. Land all will be one with this. And even as these things are, these counters getting pulled off, every time they get thrown on, they're dealing damage to anything.
And the best part is that it's power 16 or less. So if you can get her to 16, the next turn she hits 32 before everything gets ripped off. Because at
Ooh,
the beginning of
yeah,
Repkeep, if she's at 16, it gets doubled to 32. Then you have her at 32 for a turn, and then the next turn they get ripped off at 32.
yeah, yeah. Damn. Okay, so if you can manipulate the 1/1 counters just a little bit, you can get
Yeah.
absolute value out of this.
And then you definitely want to put an Ozolith in here because then all of a sudden you remove all of them. She
Ugh,
has. You're gaining
ugh.
all that life. It's all on the Ozolith. You just move them right back.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah. An Ozolith and all will be one. That
Yeah.
is just dealing the damage,
All
keeping
right.
them,
So
moving them.
Gruul, Lily, fucking. I feel like you're adding blue in there too. I feel like there's got to be some blue in there. I don't know.
Or I just force him into the cage
Yeah.
brawler.
True. True that.
No, I like that card. Any cards you want to highlight before I just keep on gushing over this shit?
Um, I like Tato Farmer.
All right, hit me with Tato Farmer.
It's a 3 mana, 2 and a green, for a 1/4 zombie mutant peasant landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may get 2 rad counters, and then you could tap it to put target land in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control tapped.
Okay, so the rad counters on yourself are more to get the lands out.
Yeah.
So you're radiationing yourself in order to ramp.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like if I were to build like I would focus on ratting myself and using the milling as like as an engine is more so where I would go. And there's actually one of the cards I
Damn.
think like strong says like instead of losing life from radiation, you gain life from radiation. So you can this deck is actually pretty cool. It's not that far. Yeah, yeah, strong the brutish
Dude,
thespian, 4 and 2 green for 7/7 with ward 2. So it's above average stats with protection. Enraged, whenever it's dealt damage, you get 3 rad counters that put 3/1/1 counters on strong. You gain life rather than lose life from radiation.
that's awesome.
That's so
Dude,
cool.
there's so many layers to what these decks are doing.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about putting a radiation counter on myself. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
would pretty much only do it on myself if possible.
I only do it to myself. All
Yeah.
right, that's awesome. A little Tato farmer. I like it. Um, there's this card here, Battle of Hoover Dam, which I want to shout out. So it's 3 and a white enchantment. As Battle of Hoover Dam enters the battlefield, choose NCR or Legion. So NCR is at the beginning of your end step. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. That's fantastic for white, for Boros, anything you're going aggro. Just being able to pull that creature out no matter what, especially if it has an ETB trigger, especially if it has a dying trigger. I mean, you don't get the second dying trigger, but you got your dying trigger and it comes back out as a threat or a blocker. But then it also has Legion, which is whenever a creature you control dies, put 2/1/1 counters on target creature you control. The fact that it's either get things from your graveyard out, or if something is going into your graveyard, grow what you already have, I think is a nice value. Not so much on higher power decks. If you're building a 7 or an 8, you might not be hoovering that dam.
True.
But for a 6 or a 7, this is what those kinds of decks are looking for. Is what do I need? Do I want to bring things from my graveyard, or do I want to grow what I already have when things die? I love it. As an aggro player, this is a great commander card. Probably not your jam, though, honestly.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
I like
I
it,
know.
but just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not as much for me.
Yeah. If you were going to recur, you don't want to be limited by 3 or less
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
definitely not. Unless I was building around that specifically.
All right, so then how about this one? Grim Reaper's Sprint.
Yeah, great perk. That's a great
Yeah, so
perk.
oh, okay. So it is 4 in a red, enchantment aura. It has morbid. The spell costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. Enchant creature. When Grim Reaper's Sprint enters the battlefield, untap each creature you control. If it's your main phase, there's an additional combat after this phase. Enchanted creature gets +2, and haste. So listen, 5 mana, get an extra turn. Something gets pumped, something gets haste. Good card.
Yeah, big fan.
If
What
you're doing something with morbid, it's 2 mana. That's real. That's real. So I like this.
shout out for me. Lumbering Mega Sloth. Uh
Okay.
it's a it's an uncommon. It's 10 and 2 green for an 8/8, but it costs 1 less to cast for each counter among all players and permanents. So feasibly you could be casting it for 2. It has a trample and enters the battlefield tapped. I just love it because sloths are my favorite animals, and now I could finally play a sloth in Magic. So
And that is an undeniable, unmistakable sloth, that
yeah, it is
artwork right there.
slothy as fuck.
At Kalahari this weekend, they had a shirt there that it was called Bob Sloth, and it was literally just Bob Ross as a sloth,
I
like
like that.
dancing shit. Oh, it was
Big fan.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, sloths. They're great. But yeah, I mean, 2 mana 8/8, trample. Uh Value. That's always value. Now, is that something that you would actually play though?
Because I like it so much, I would
Pet
keep it.
card.
It's not getting cut. Long story short,
Okay.
it doesn't fit in
Awesome.
every deck because obviously you want to do a deck that has counter themed. So I wouldn't just slam it in anything with green, but I'll definitely not cut that from that deck to make improvements. That gets to stay because it's a sloth and I like it.
Fair. Hell yeah. All right, so here's a card that I was thinking of building around, although I have no knowledge or expertise in this. So Aradesh, the founder, which is
Hmm.
2 and a white, human soldier, 1/4 with enlist. Whenever a creature you control attacks, if it enlisted a creature this combat, the creature that attacked gains double strike until end of turn, and if that creature's power is 4 or greater, draw a card.
Super cool.
Tap tribal.
Yep.
There has to be some sort of tap tribal system to where as things are getting tapped, oh, God Pharaoh's something from there's an artifact that at the end of your turn, you deal damage equal to the number of tapped creatures. There's got to be some tap tribal with white. I mean, it's hard because it's mono white, but there's got to be something. And that's something whether I build it or not is one thing, but I'm definitely going to go down that avenue and see Scryfall, tapped creatures in white. What do we got? Because if you can pump a creature while drawing a card, while getting double strike and getting tapped, tap triggers, and then at the end of your turn, you're going to deal damage because of all of these tap things. That's something I want to look into. I like that. That's special.
I also like that it's card draw on white.
Yeah.
I could see building a mono white deck around this guy, and you have some card draw in the command zone. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean it's literally if you are gonna deal damage, which is progressing the game, and be big and bad, it's like, okay, double strike, draw a card, take everything you want. You want to deal more damage? You want to get some value in your hand? All of it. Have it. So I like Aradesh a lot. And there's got to be something good that you can build around him. Um we are over an hour and a half, man. Is there any other cards? There's some artwork I want to shout out, but in terms of cards,
no,
I think we hit it.
I think we got most of them. I just like overall kind of zooming out. I'm glad that they hit all the companions that you can have. And I mean, notably, people were sad that Benny, who's like one of the antagonists from Fallout New Vegas, didn't make it in. Apparently, there's going to be secret lairs
Okay.
involved the two secret layers that we saw so far were kind of just like reprints. So hopefully people are hoping the third secret layer has like a couple of the new cards. Maybe we'll get Benny there. But I enjoyed the way they did it. They also had said that they considered doing the player character. So the player character in all the Fallout games has like a name. Um, in I want to say in Fallout New Vegas, you're the Lone Wanderer. In Fallout 3, it's called like the Sole Survivor. Um, I might be mixing those up, but like the player character has like a title, so to speak, and they had considered making those titles for like a card, but they made the great decision that like because it's the player character and you can make so many different choices as an RPG, you can build it however you want, that they didn't feel like it was worth focusing on those characters. So instead they focused on people with like, actual personalities in the game. So I like that they did that. And
Yeah.
the other thing is that I really enjoy that something you'll discover is that when you level up in Fallout, you get what's called perks, and perks are how like your character grows stronger and whatnot. I really liked that all of the perks that they put in here are auras because it almost feels like, oh, this character gained this perk, so it's an aura like equipment, I mean enchantment. So I liked the design for that, the flavor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know too much about that stuff, but I mean, th- they're killing it. It seems like they did it. And so you're saying that there's going to be secret layers to this confirmed? That's for
Yeah,
sure.
so
There's going to
one
be more
one
secret
was
layers.
already spoiled. Where it's the special is like the acronym used for the main stats of the game, like strength, endurance, perception, intellect, agility, luck, um, charisma. But so there's going to be one set of that. They've already shown the artwork for those. It looks kind of cool. Not a lot of value though. And I don't know what the other one was. So I think it's like a reskin of another legendary. So yeah, there are secret layers coming out.
Okay. Well, good. I tapped out on buying the 4 packs, but listen, they could always pull me back in to buy some more. I do want to ask you on one more card and then shout out one artwork before we sign out of here. Nuclear Fallout. Have you read this card yet? X Black Black. Okay, so Nuclear Fallout is X Black Black sorcery. Each creature gets twice negative X until end of turn. Each player gets X rad counters.
Oh, so it's Toxic Deluge at home.
And you don't have to spend any life.
Yeah, but
You
you have to spend
choose,
mana.
but it's double what X is. So you only have to pay 3 mana to deal -6 to everything. I mean, well,
No, it's
5 mana
true.
because you have to play the back black. But I mean, th- and everyone's going to get a rad counter. So technically, some damage might happen, whether to you or to them. But rad counters are happening, so people are going to mill. Things are going to happen. Negative X is good. Do you think? I mean, I know it's not 3 mana, but in a not optimized game of Commander, do you think that this could possibly be a better option
Yes,
because you don't
not
have to
better,
pay that
but
life?
yes, and an alternate option for sure.
Okay, yeah, good way to say it. Yeah, not better. Um, what awesome flavor to that too, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how big is the bomb? However big that bomb is that got rid of everything, you're all going to get that many radiation counters. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And then Casualties of War was reprinted in this.
Yeah,
And
that
I just
art
want
is
to shout out,
awesome.
yeah, it is a woman and a man skeleton sitting, at a table drinking a milkshake, egg float. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just these two skeletons sitting there. Beautiful artwork by Samuel. No, it's too blurry. Samuel something. Samuel Person, we'll call him for today.
Samuel Person, killing it.
um, Yeah, yeah, nothing but the finest research here on brewing. But I gotta say, when I looked at all these cards, I had to stop and really enjoy this artwork here. So they really killed it for Casualties of War.
I
Oof.
think I think the full I think the full amount went out on the full art was out on Reddit. So if you go on Reddit, you could see the artist posted like the uncropped image
Ooh, okay.
if you want to
All right.
really
Well,
get in there.
yeah. Yeah, I do. I want to acknowledge this because this is really something beautiful. They did it. They knocked it out of the park on this, and
Also,
I know that.
unlike
Yes.
sorry, go on.
No. No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, unlike Decimate, what I like about this card too is that you don't need all of the targets to be available to use it.
Yeah. For 6 mana, you kind of want it all, but you
Yeah,
don't need it all.
you
That's the
don't need
beauty.
it
You're
all.
right. You're right. I was gonna say that all of these things we have Thunder Junction, Assassin's Creed, Bloomborough, MTG Arena, Modern Horizons, and all this stuff, and all I could think about is these Fallout Commander decks. I really, really appreciate what they did with this. I hope that as they're releasing this flood of Commander decks all the time in every standard set, in the Modern Horizons and all this stuff, there's so much Commander, and they are not botching it up. And then when it comes to something like this with Fallout, where they're dealing with this IP that is a big risk for their players and for the Fallout players, that they haven't dropped the ball yet. So just keep it up. I can't wait. Well, not that I can't wait, but we know it's eventually going to be a ball that gets dropped on some IP where they didn't do it right. But for
Yeah,
right now, they are showing no signs of wavering. I love it. And we're going to play Commander tomorrow. Um, but when we get these sets, I really do want to sit down. And I know Joey is a huge Fallout fan. So I really am excited to kind of get the bug from you all and make sure that I finish through playing Fallout 4. And
so I'm
before you
playing
know it,
right
who
after
knows?
we're done here. So
Ah! Yeah, no. You know what? So I'm playing Fallout, but also it's an XCOM like game where it's a you're hunting Nazis, but there's also something about Cthulhu in it. But
interesting.
it's an XCOM like game, and it was on sale for $8, and I grabbed it, and I am so enthralled with that right now, though. So when I sit down and I have like 20 minutes to play Fallout, I feel like I can't really progress unless I have an hour or two to sit there.
Yeah,
Um, but this has been this awesome little bite-sized game of let me do some turn-based, let me see how I get through it, and so I need to wait for a weekend that I actually have free, which won't be for like another month or
anytime
two.
soon. Yeah.
But my intentions are to get through Fallout.
Can I give you a fun or trash if you don't have any more Fallout comments?
Yes, yes. What do you got, man?
Okay, so here's I'm cheating a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll admit while I'm cheating because I watched the professor recently posted a video that was six six cards that are more powerful than you would think. And I, you agreed with most of them, but I just wanted to give his number one card to you and see what you think about this because
Okay.
I didn't even know this card existed.
Okay.
Um, it's Sardian Avenger, um, who is one in a red, so 2 mana for a 1/1 Goblin Warrior. He has First Strike and Trample. Whenever Sardian Avengers attacks, it gets +X+0 until the end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts your opponents control. Whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, Sardian Avenger deals 1 damage to that player.
Oh my god, that's actually very powerful.
Yes.
Definitely not trash. I would call that fun because of the fact that there's those games where no one's doing it. But I mean, god damn, that's
Yeah, First
nice.
Strike and Trample scales with treasures, with all artifacts, but really it seems like treasures are kind of what it wants to punish. Because
Yeah.
and then it pings whenever somebody sacrifices a food or a clue or a treasure or a junk token or a blood token.
Junk token. Does it work with if you is it like if you have, or is
No,
it only opponents?
it's opponents. But the best thing is
Okay.
that when it attacks, it's not defending player, it's opponent's
Oh,
control. So you could
okay.
attack somebody that doesn't have a bunch of treasures and still get the bonus because it's any opponent, all of their artifacts all together.
So there is also that option of like, hey, guys, let's make some treasures. I have smothering tithe out, or your opponent has smothering tithe out. It's like, no, I'm not
Yeah,
going to pay. Let it build up. Let's do this. I like
and
that.
first
And
strike trample
first strike trample,
for 2 mana.
and the fact that it's 2 mana, 2 mana. That's nothing. You throw 2 mana, that's nothing. That's the shit that's left over at the end of your turn. 2 mana. So, and it's unassuming. It's a 1/1. It's not going to cause any, bring any threats or ire. And then at the end of the day, that ping alone might be what wins you the game. So, what's the name of that? I gotta write this down. Hit me with
Sardian Avenger.
spell it.
Sardian Avenger.
Okay. And that is from, let's see what set. The Brothers War Commander deck. Okay. No, that's a fun card. That's something I'm glad you brought to my attention
It's
because
less
I
than a
could definitely
dollar.
shove that at less than $1. Damn. Nice. Thanks, Professor.
Plugging the most popular YouTuber for Magic. We got you, dog.
Hey, I mean,
Our
ain't that
one
why we're
viewer will
here?
watch that video.
Yeah. Keldon, my
Yeah.
man, go get that card. No, that's awesome. No, that's a good fun or trash. I like it. Anything that's, can go wrong, but when it pulls off is when it's funnest. You love it when it's like this could have been useless, but by golly, I won the game because of it. So, Sardine Avenger. All right, man, I'm about to pee my fucking pants over here.
Yeah, it's time. We're almost at 2 hours, so time to
All
call
right,
it a day.
absolutely. I can't wait to see you tomorrow morning, man. Let's play some Commander.
Yep, and that's the bottom of the glass.
Take it easy.